And okay, we don't invest in gaming, for example, and gaming is the hottest sector in Turkey. We don't invest in gaming because we don't have any experience about the gaming startups. So as an investor, I believe that it's quite important to know what you should be investing in or what you know to invest in this business. Otherwise, it's really hard to cover all topics, all sectors, all segments, because it will take time, and in time you have to develop your expertise somehow. So this is why, especially about the international investments, I would like to start with how you can have a really strong investment thesis to select the right startups to invest in. For me, the investment thesis is the most important part of a venture capital fund, because without an investment thesis, we cannot know technically what you are investing in. And also, since the VC business is a very long-term business, we are starting these funds like almost 8-10 years. When you look at the numbers, it will take time to select and find the best startups, best companies. So you need to start with a good investment thesis, and good investment thesis has different components. It is starting with the question of who are you exactly? What did you do before as an investor? What you are putting on the table? Why you want to do this business? Why you want to become a venture capital? What is the opportunity you see in this market? And then you have to answer the sub questions like, I see the question, I will reply it. And also you have to, reply some of the sub questions like which areas you're going to be investing in, what kind of stage startups you're going to be investing in, how much ownership you are targeting to take from those startups. And also for these equities and ownership, what kind of ticket size, investment amount you're going to be offering to those startups. And then it will continue with, who are going to be your investors in the fund, what kind of money you're going to be raising to start that VC funds. Because if you're going to get like government money, let's say, there are going to be some strict rules about it as well. If you're going to get like a whole totally private money, it's going to be a little bit flexible, but also raising only private money, it's another challenge. And starting with a really good investment thesis, it's really important to become a good international investor. And we have one question: which technologies, sectors, or industries do you see as the most promising for venture investment over the next 5-10 years? So I will start with AI, artificial intelligence, of course, but it's already a very general topic, right? Because I said we are investing in B2B software companies, and what is exactly B2B software? It could be like healthcare, it could be like, HR tech, for example. All these, areas is very different from each other. Okay, and for me, the AI is going to be developing really, really fast. And last 2 years, we are also saying this, but the AI is just starting. Another point, I think, another sector which will be raising, again, fintech. Fintech is a very general topic as well. There are more than 20 subcategories under the fintech area. And besides these, subcategories and fintechs, I think gig economy, freelancing, and especially the payment side of the gig economy, and also the taxation will be very, very popular to invest in by venture capital funds. And besides that, let's say healthcare. We are not a healthcare fund. We are not a healthcare fund, but I think the healthcare, especially globally, will be super trendy again, because the population all over the world is increasing and people are getting old, technically living longer. So living longer means that they're gonna need different things during especially retirement period. So those kind of, aging economy, they call it, will be super popular to invest in next 10 years. Thank you. Okay, another topic I would like to little bit discuss with you. I mean, setting your investment thesis, which is very, very important. And then it's also very important to develop meaningful partnerships with different VC funds, especially if you want to invest in different countries or different, startups. You have to check their background technically, and you have to consult to your peers, your peer investors. To be able to do that, you need that network. I mean, you have to start those relationships before starting to invest in startups, because those kind of relationships it will take. So going to international events, meeting with different international investors, just a really good step to get into the point, but also to have a proper relationship with those investors. Let's say you have to keep your relationship with them alive. So it means that it's not just about saying, hi, this is my fund, I am investing in startups. It also means that getting their contact info, sending regular emails or messages to them to check some deals, to get their opinions as well. So in time, I hope so, like in 2-3 years, you can become really good friends with those international investors, and then you can start to make co-investments together. But expecting from day one, just after let's say meeting with an investor, hey, cool, send me the best deals from your country, it's not going to be that much possible, to be honest, because investors actually, they want to keep all good deals for their self, as you can guess. So I think getting know to other international investors and building good relationships to invest in international startups together is a very important point. We have another question. I would like to ask, in your work with our startups as a general partner, what are the common traits or qualities you have observed in founders that are critical for a startup success at the early stage? Of course, the team is super important, because early stage means that those companies have to try different things all the time. They have to pivot to something, to another thing all the time, and the team is very, very important. Usually we don't like to invest in solo founders, let's say, but we are also not rejecting startups if they have just the one co-founder. But again, we prefer to invest in at least 2-3 co-founders, team structures, etc. If they are coming from the sector, if they have enough experiences about the sector, it's a good sign. And usually those kind of companies are more successful, let's say, after the investment. It also depends on the country side, because, for example, Estonia is a very small country, only 1.3 million population. So if you are an entrepreneur in Estonia, Tallinn, if you are starting a startup, let's say, probably after selling 1 or 2 customers, you have to go to another country, right? Because the inner market, just like that, there is literally no other potential customer you can sell your product as an entrepreneur. So those kind of entrepreneurs, they have to go to the global from day one, because there is no option for them. But also, when you look at the countries like Turkey, 90 million population, quite a big country, there is an inner market itself. So when you compare to entrepreneurs who are coming from small countries versus entrepreneurs who are coming from big countries, high population countries, usually high population country entrepreneurs, they are a little bit slow to go to the global markets, because usually they think like, we have this big market already, we can speak the language, so we can stay here more. But the startup is a different business. Because if you are calling your business as a startup, you have to be, scaling, growing really, really fast, and also developing your own technology. Unfortunately, some of the entrepreneurs are stuck in that, the big market dream, and they are getting, they are staying, unfortunately late for the global expansion. So again, balanced team plus country and global expansion perspectives. And usually when we are making our investment decisions, we are trying to understand what kind of ambition they have to go to the global. Because some of the founders, they're already telling, we are going global, we want to go global, we are already, contacting or reaching out to customers in those countries, and we will be there, blah, blah. But also some of the founders, they are telling, yeah, of course, we can go to the global, but also our local market is very good, something. So when I hear something like this, unfortunately, it's a red flag for us, because we want that ambition from day one, because even our ticket sizes are small, actually, up to 500K. And even we are investing in pre-seed and seed stage startups, we want to see that ambition from day one. And do we? Yeah, sure. I hope it's clear for everyone. By the way, do you have any questions? If you have, please go ahead. If you don't have any questions, maybe we can also talk a bit about, how we can support our portfolio companies after the investment. So I'm sure you heard before the term called smart money. And all investors and VC funds, let's say, they are claiming they're all smart money, right? They're helping their companies, supporting their companies. They're not just offering money, actually. Besides money, they are also putting lots of experience and network to support their portfolio companies. So technically, as a venture capitalist, after investing in a startup, that startup is becoming one of our portfolio companies. And until the exit, literally, we are responsible for everything which related to that company. Of course, we are not managing the company. We are not getting into the all details about, the management or the daily operational side. But if the founders need something, we need to at least try to help them about the topic. So to do that, we have several methods and systems. So first of all, I think it's really important to track your portfolio companies, okay? So it doesn't mean that every day you're going to be checking them with WhatsApps or Telegram or something, but at least getting regular reports from your portfolio companies, it's quite important. Usually those monthly reports are, showing and also giving the signals about how they are doing. Are they doing good or bad? Is there anything emergence or not? So you can get those signals from them. Usually we are checking, what are the highlights and lowlights about that month? What are the, new customers? How is the traction? How much money they have right now? And if they specifically need or has some kind of a request or ask from our side. So every month we are checking those kind of details with each of our portfolio companies. If we see something like, not good, if they need help, as partners, we are discussing internally, and we are assigning one person from the team to check the details and help and support that company. So this is the usual way how we are tracking more than 450 companies, let's say, arkadaş. Yeah. Another point, let's say, we have several infrastructures and sources to help our portfolio companies. The first one is we have a very big network of mentors and experts coming from different countries and backgrounds. If our portfolio companies need something specifically, for example, we are a startup from Turkey, we want to go to the Poland market, okay? Which expert or mentor knows very well the Polish market? We are making the necessary introductions, and following up with the details later. Okay. And secondly, another point is that investment support. We are also providing follow-on investments. So after the initial investment, if our portfolio companies are doing well and raising another round, we can also join that round as well. But also, I think the biggest support we are providing for our portfolio companies, there are already more than 140 European VC funds, which previously invested in our portfolio companies. So we have, that official bond with those other VC funds. So if one of our portfolio companies is raising another round, we are checking our potential investor list, and if we see any fit there, we are making those international VC investor introductions for that portfolio company. It's also quite important because if you know the fund previously, if you invested in a startup together previously, the relationships and the reference point is another level. Okay, of course, all the time founders can reach out those investors by themselves, but if it is coming from another investor as an introduction or the reference point, usually the other international investors, they are prioritizing that startups in terms of the process. So this is why we are making many, let's say, introductions about the customer and also the investor side. Another thing which we are, doing, we have a very big network of corporate companies in different countries. Since we are investing in B2B software companies, B2B companies is quite important for us. If one of our portfolio companies are looking for specific vertical focus companies, or if they are trying to reach out some specific vertical companies to make the sales, if it is part of our network, we are making those customer introductions as well. I think it's really important to offer this kind of a network, including international investors, international big, corporate companies, plus mentors and experts. These are, very, very essential group of people for early stage startups. Because after your investment, if the portfolio company is doing well, most probably in 6 months, between 6 months, 1 year, they will be raising another investment round, and bigger ticket sizes, bigger checks, bigger investors will be joining the board. So it's an amazing sign that your portfolio company is doing well, and meanwhile, you are also making more money. So, sorry, we have many questions. Sorry, I didn't see them. Okay, Alexei, thank you for listening me. I am interested in deep tech investment. Have you had any experience with the deep tech? What sectors venture investor consider producing? Thank you. So including B2B SaaS, we are investing in cybersecurity startups. They are mostly deep tech companies, but deep tech is, different level, let's say, because deep tech means that they require more capital compared to normal startups. Plus, they need more time to develop their product. So this is why if you want to invest in deep tech startups, you have to be careful about 2 things. The first one is your ticket size and your fund size, because you're going to need a bigger fund compared to the other VC funds, let's say, to invest in enough startups to create a proper portfolio. Secondly, since your portfolio companies will need more time to develop their products because it's deep tech, it requires another, technology, maybe some algorithms, maybe some scientific discoveries, I don't know. It will take time. And to do that, if you want to raise a bigger fund, let's say next year's, showing your track record to potential LPs, investors, is not gonna be that much, easy for you, because probably you feel like you invested 10, let's say 20 deep tech companies. Actually, they are doing well. They are, developing products. They are, hanging there, doing something. But since they didn't raise another round, or they didn't sell the company yet. When your potential investors ask some financial return, financial track record, it's going to be a little bit challenging for you to explain why you don't have yet. About healthcare, again, about the deep tech topic, I can easily say that healthcare is a very, very important part, because again, population is increasing. We are facing, unfortunately, different types of viruses right now, especially after COVID. Unfortunately, we're going to be having different types of viruses in the future as well. So the healthcare is very, very important. And another question, could you please usually, after how many years will return my investment in startups? I invested 3 years ago, about 10 projects, and no one exits. Okay, it's a very good question. So guys, venture capital startup investments are high risk, high return types of investments. Usually as a VC funds, we are, starting a VC fund for 10 years. During the 10 years, we don't have any obligations to return to money to our LPs, but usually we are having those exits, cash returns before the 10 years. And when you look at all investment, startup investments, let's say, usual exit times between 5-6 years. So again, maybe tomorrow you can have one exit. It's possible. But if you're investing in startups, please do not expect quick returns in short times, because this is not what we do technically. And another question, I want to launch a startup, a mobile application in the cargo transportation sector. I have a team of developers, good, but I am a complete beginner in business. Please, could you advise me how I can attract initial investment, on which platforms, and what difficulties I might? Okay, so it's a really good questions. So if I were you, I would be starting with the incubation centers or accelerator programs, because you can get the necessary and essential mentorships and network from those programs for free. Okay. Secondly, I will be going for government grants. Okay, the grant means that free money technically, because if you are getting grant, you don't have to give an equity ownership from your company. Another step after, accelerator programs plus the grant programs, I would be chasing some angel investors, because angel investors are investing in early stage startups with their own monies, and they have different motivations compared to venture capital funds. So as venture capital funds, we are managing other people's money. Okay, so it's a strictly full-time job. But angel investors are different. They are investing in their own money, so they can invest in anything they like technically, and they don't have to give any, accountability or report to the investors as well. So again, accelerator programs, grant programs, and then angel investors. But meanwhile, you're going to have your product technically, you're going to have, more traction, and then you can go to the VC funds as well. Okay. Wanted to ask about how to become a VC investor, how to pursue a career in that field. It's going to be good if I start a career in that field from an investment analyst position. I'm a student finance major. Yes, exactly. You have to start from the bottom, technically, if you are not coming from, very wealthy family, because we have some people, for example, they have lots of money. So in just one day, they can start another fund if they want. But if you are coming from, the students and the finance major, etc., always the analyst and associate positions are the best. Usually every 2-3 years, those positions are getting promotions and, the higher levels. So in 2-3 years, analyst, associates, investment manager, investment director, vice of investments, and then like in 10 years, you can become one of the partners at the fund as well. I think the career path is very clear and very open for young individuals right now, because this area is developing so quickly. We need more and more qualified people about it. And most of the students and young people, still they don't know there is just like this an area as a career option, let's say. One more question on geography. Have you had investments or other experiences in Serbia? Yes, we invested in Serbian startups previously. If it is just a question, or do you have another follow-up question? Okay, meanwhile, again, if you have any other questions, guys, just let me know. Since these sessions is mostly about venture capital world, how become an international VC investments, etc. I'm mostly talking about the investment side. Also, another important point, I think if you want to become a international VC investment, developing and building your own network. And your own network includes different investors, different successful startup founders, and also some ecosystem players. Like in Kazakhstan, just an example, there's an Astana hub and they are doing very well. I know also most ventures from Kazakhstan, they're also doing very well in Almaty. So knowing different players in the same ecosystem and leveraging that network for future investments is the key. Because if you can build that investor network for yourself, you can also use that network for your portfolio companies as well. And another point, when you are talking about, investment, usually finance and Excel sheets, etc., coming to the mind directly. But for me, according to my experience, let's say, I think the communication is really, really important in our sector. Okay. Another point that communication plus, I would say, marketing, but not that way. Okay, we need to communicate with investors to attract more money to our funds. And also we need to be, communicating with startups to find and attract, really good quality of founders. So this is why communication and marketing, they are very important in our business. Should a beginner investment managing company have a background in managing funds in order to attract investment to any venture fund? I didn't understand the question very well. Should a beginner investment manager company have a background in management? Could you please, a little bit clear about the question? I didn't get the question, unfortunately. By the way, if you have any other questions, just let me know. Which tools do you use for investment analysis? PitchBook. Okay, I will. Yeah. So first of all, we are using different tools to track startups and find, startups, let's say. But usually we are getting our applications from deal room platforms. Okay, so this is, just one tool to get the applications, but we are also checking other platforms as well to track the different startups. Also, we have a big team, by the way. We are almost 45 people. We are going to different international events, joining those pitch competitions, for example, joining also syndicate fund structure, etc. And we are tracking many startups to see in terms of trends and technologies, what is coming, and also to see and select the best startups in that country. How can investors plan an exit strategy from a startup? What strategy do you typically consider or recommend? So the tricky part is that you cannot plan the exit strategy actually, because the founders should be doing that. But as a VC investor, we can do this. We have limited time to invest in startup and also to exit the company, right? Because end of the fund term, which is usually 8 or 10 years, we have to return all money to our investors. So usually before 2-3 years before the fund term, ending the fund timing, let's say, we are communicating with our portfolio companies. Hey guys, we are running out of time. We need to exit your company in 2 years, let's say. So what are the options? Do you want to sell the whole company, or do you want to just continue? Or then please let us find a buyer for our equities, because end of the fund term, we have to return the whole money to our investors, okay? So it depends on the communication and what kind of relationship you have with the startups. But technically, you can, as an investor, you cannot run the whole exit process by yourself. I mean, technically, it's founders, co-founders company still. How I can recognize good projects for investment, for what I need to, pay attention. I think for early stage startup investments, the most important part is that the team should be balanced, coming from the sector. Founders should know each other long time. If they work previously together, it's a good sign as well. If they are coachable, open to get feedback, etc., it's another point. So it's all starting with the good team, and then you can check out the market, and then the technology. We already discussed what kind of areas we'll be raising in the next 5-10 years. So you can select several topics for yourself, and then you can start search for the good teams that are working on those topics. Okay, so many questions. Did you mention using data room? If yes, write its name. No, I said deal room. This is the tool which we are using to get all applications from startups. Okay, about the data room means that this is something which co-founders are preparing for the investment round and sending the investors to receive the investment. So we are checking, before making our investment decisions about the startup, we are checking their data room. Could you please share your experience, opinion of VC Unlock program? How difficult is to get there? Okay, sure. So guys, in 2021, I joined the VC Unlock program organized by 500 Global and Stanford University. For me, it was super easy, actually. Actually, I got a scholarship also, because as I know right now, it's very, very expensive. It was a good, let's say, experience. Because of the time zone, it was a little bit challenging for me, because my lectures were on nights, right? Yeah, until midnight almost. But in terms of networking, it was always good, because you are meeting with many different people who are sharing the same, let's say, ambition from different countries. So in terms of networking, it was a good experience. But I don't think it's difficult to get into it, because it's it's not a free program. So technically, if you can cover the cost, let's say, you can easily get into that, I believe. Can a new company or a company without or with little experience in this sphere be an investment manager? Again, I mean, you can develop your country. I think attending different events and following up with the events, it's really important, because you can see what is happening in the world, and what kind of things people are discussing. I think the networking part is quite important for that. I have which method do you use to perform the evaluation of pre-seed and seed stage startups? So technically, we don't calculate the valuations of startups. Okay, because in pre-seed, usually there are different ranges you can follow up. And if something, makes sense in that ranges, usually we accept the valuation which co-founders tell us. We don't calculate specifically, but we are also taking care of some details as well. For example, let's say it is their very first investment round, and they are asking for 10 million valuation. There is no other investors, no other commitments from the investors, etc. In that case, if we think like compared to the current traction, the valuation which they are asking for is super high, we are trying to negotiate it. Usually we say that, okay, but go and get some commitments from other investors. Show me that some other investors can accept that valuation, and then it's going to be okay for me. If they can do that, again, we don't negotiate for the valuation, just accept the valuation, because in early stage investment, valuation is not that much important, because in 1 or 2 years, we are expecting at least 4 or 5 multiple growth in terms of valuations. So if they're asking for, let's say, $100 million valuation without proper traction, the question is that it's fine, $100 million, but are you going to be $500 million, company in 2 years? Prove me you can do that, and the $100 million valuation is okay. These are just examples, by the way. Of course, usually they don't ask for $100 million valuation. And as I heard that networking is really essential for it, yes, could you give some advices, please? How can I start developing my network? You have to, first, you have to have a proper LinkedIn account. So guys, it sounds like very, very simple, but it's also very important, you know that. Please add your experiences on that. Please add a proper, picture, photo on your account, and please try to be active on LinkedIn. Secondly, you have to reach out to people who looks interesting for you, okay? Send messages, emails, try to get like 15-20 minutes coffee breaks, coffee meetings with them, try to get into know them, and then it will create a network for you. And the other thing is that you have to go to the physical events as well. You can meet with people online. This is the, one of the ways, but also meeting with people physically, it's another level. So first start with the local events in your city. It could be about investors, or let's say startups, or maybe about just general technology. That's fine. But go to the events and meet with the people physically. And also after meeting with people physically, get their contact info to stay in the touch. And again, it's coming to the, how you can build a proper relationship with, other investors as well, send regular messages, emails, taking care of that relationship is really important. And I think that was the last question. Do we have any other questions?
It seems like our participants were impressed by our active discussion. So, do you have anything to share, Gюндже, or any other questions from our participants? I think maybe, Gюндже, also you can mention about importance of education, because somehow you are focused on academy and you find that the education part is very important in order to have investment experience, especially in venture.
Of course. I mean, guys, you have to be learning all the time, okay? Because we are investing in technology and innovation, and these things are changing literally every day. So you cannot say like, I know the technology, I know the coding, that's enough or something, because that technology is not going to be the same tomorrow, right? So this is why learning and training yourself in venture capital world is really important. During my career, it was really hard for me to build my career in venture capital world, as you can guess, because I'm coming from Turkey. It's a new market, new ecosystem. There is no success stories. I mean, just when I first started, very first VC funds in Turkey, they were just establishing, there were no career path for young individuals. After joining VC Unlock, VC training programs, and becoming a venture capitalist, becoming a general partner at the fund, actually, I I decided to give back to the ecosystem. So I started my own VC training program, which is a 8 weeks, training program about how you can start a proper VC fund from scratch. So it's including all essential sessions and workshops about venture capital world, how you can start a fund, raising a fund, and then selecting the right startups after the investment, negotiating term sheet, managing your portfolio companies, exiting your portfolio companies, and the all use cases you can face, all challenges about the venture capital fund. Right now I am teaching at the university as well, this lecture, venture capital fund management. So I think joining this kind of sessions and realizing what is happening in the ecosystem, it's really important. Also, listening different peoples from different countries, because each ecosystem is very unique, to be honest. And as investors, the things we need to be doing, we need to leverage our global perspective to invest in global startups. If you're a very smart person, let's say, and know all people in your country, that's something. But also, if you want to invest in startups, let's say, it's not something you can do by yourself only. So you need also support and help from the peer investors as well, because your ticket size, just a quick start for that startup, but it's not gonna be enough for the whole journey. So you need to attract more investors to invest in your portfolio companies, and it's all coming to the same point: learning, training yourself, developing good and meaningful relationship with peer investors in time. So please, thanks for coming today again, and please stay in touch with me. You can always reach out to me. I am super active on LinkedIn. If you have any kinds of questions, you can always send me. It's my pleasure to be here today, talking to you and meeting with you.
Thank you very much, Gюндже, and thank you to all of you participants. And so this is the final VC talk for this year. And it was, well, the first VC talk in English language, and I think it was very supportive and active.
So, really, so many questions. Thank you so much for being so active.
Yes. And so I think we can finalize maybe our meeting. And yeah, I hope to be collaborative and to have some partnership for the next year.
Yeah, guys, again, we want to invest in startups in Kazakhstan, so please let me know if you know of any good startups. Always open for communication. We can discuss the deals, different deals together. We can make investments together. Thanks for coming today again.
Thank you. Keep in touch, Gюндже.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.